Yeah, you hear that? Slipping a little bit, eh? Nothing. Hello everyone, welcome back to Center Stand Mechanics. My name is Kyle, and today we're going to be doing some work to the 1991 Yamaha Venture Royale. I've got to replace the starter clutch in it. It's sometimes when you hit the starter button, you can hear it slipping and grinding, and it sounds kind of rough. Not all the time, but you know, it's such a big bike. I don't really want to go anywhere without a good solid starting system in place. So that's going to be the main focus of today. I've got the new part here. It's just right here. It's all it is just this little thing, and it sits over a round little end of a shaft, and then these little rollers grab onto it as it's getting engaged. There's probably a gear that gets bolted to, and got some new bolts to go with it, new gasket. Hopefully that can get put on without too much trouble, and if I got time, I'll probably change the oil filter. I have to drop the oil anyways, because I'm pretty sure once I get the engine cover off, there's going to be the oil in behind it. So, and I haven't done an oil change on this bike yet, so now's a good time to do it. And I got I got an air filter, and I got some spark plugs. I don't know if I'm going to get to the spark plugs. They might be, I think there's 4 of them on this bike, and we'll look into it. If they're fairly easily to access, I'll swap them out. But if they're buried in there, I don't know. I'll do it another time. Yeah, I kind of want to get the bike ready for a little bit of a road trip. Wife and I want to go up island maybe later in the week, next week, and not a lot, like maybe 1,000 kilometers, nothing like that. So it'd be the first real big road trip for the Venture Royale since I've owned it. I've gone around town and done the loop, hour-long rides and stuff like that, but nothing significant. And having the starter the way it is, I don't want to get too far away from home. I'm not too sure how easy this thing will be able to roll start, being that it's so heavy. And I mean, if you got a hill, you might be able to do it, but not. I mean, sometimes a good hill is hard to find when you need one. But yeah, so I'll go outside, and I got the bike all set up outside. I've never done this job on this bike before, so it'll be a learn as you go kind of situation. So, but yeah, enough about that. Let's get started, shall we? I got the bike all set up. I got my cardboard handy. Because I have to drop the oil, I'll do that right away. But first I'll run the bike for 3 minutes or so. I'll try to warm it up, and then we'll throw this under here and drop the oil. And I think most of today's work's going to be in this area here. Probably have to take some of these panels off just to get access to everything. Hopefully it's not too hard to get all these off. I haven't had these off yet, but I mean, they don't seem too complicated. And then I'm pretty sure this highway peg bracket needs to come off. And it looks like the shifter linkage, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, hasn't been started in a couple weeks, so we'll, we'll fuel pump on a couple times. There it is, it's good. So we'll choke it and we'll see what happens. You probably hear the starter crunch away. All right, let's go. Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, you hear that? Slipping a little bit, eh? Oh no, I got nothing. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, I don't want to go too far away from home with it, you know, crunching like that. So let that run for a couple minutes and then we'll bring you back. Alright. Well, it's been running for about 3 or 4 minutes now, so I'm just going to shut it off. Turn the key right off. And then let's drop the oil and get moving on this. Okay, so underneath the bike, I've got drain bolt right here. So I'm gonna crack it loose. It's pretty tight. I've already tried my 3/8 ratchet on it, and I got my bigger ratchet with got a cheater bar on it. Let's see if we can get this thing loose. There we go. There. There we go. There. I kind of had to block your view. So I got the oil coming out now. So I'll let that drain, and then I'll move over to the oil filter, which is right here. I think this is the filter cover right here. But I might work on getting some of this off, this cover here, and then we'll go on for that. There's a couple of screws I gotta take off to get this bottom piece off. So why not take them off while I'm over here. There's same thing on this side. Just a couple of quick, easy bolts. There. Yeah, I don't know why everyone is different. I guess there. That comes off. Put it over here out of the way. Okay. Alright, so I can access the filter cover right here. Alright, this one's a 12. I'll just get some extra leverage on it. There we go. Not too hard to get. Oh. So I'm just gonna pull this out. Nothing too strange up there. Yeah, so this side here, a little rubber O-ring. I think it will slide off of this. Oh, I see, that was stuck on there. Yeah, there is a spring right here. Right here. And the filter kind of looks the same on both sides. I don't see any metal or anything in here. So that's a good sign. It actually looks really clean and nice in here. Well, I'm not sure if the new oil filter comes with an O-ring kit or not, but we'll check that out. There's a little spring in this. Now I've got to work on getting this piece of plastic out of the way. I think this little side cover just pops out. Not too, without too much trouble. There we go. We'll put this guy over there. And then, yeah, what are we dealing with here? Oh yeah, this is just hanging on by a couple of screws here. Oh, I see. Oops. There's a screw that's coming up this way. Might have been better to get that one first, because then all the weight's kind of twisting on it when you're working on it. Alright, this top bolt is a 10 mil. And it's got a couple of passengers with it here. This will probably come out when I take the rest of them off. And then the bottom two look like they're going to be 13 mil. So yeah, they're not even that tight. It's a long one though. Oof. Oh, look at that. Maybe that's all I have to do is just drop that down like that. Those bolts weren't on very tight. Not much holding that on. So this was up here somewhere. Yeah, not exactly sure where that was, but it was up here somewhere. Okay, so is that gonna, why don't we just take that whole thing off? It's nothing, we just, yeah, it's nothing. Get it right out of the way. I'm just gonna take this shifter off here. Does anybody else find that odd that that shifter shaft moves like that? Seems like a lot of play to me. But what do I know? It's like there's like a one of those circlips is popped off on the inside or something. Or there's like a spacer or washer that's not in place. Something weird there going on. I don't have any plans to take the other side off though, so don't have a gasket or anything. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, there is a. You know what? You know what it is? Ha! I was right. Yeah, that's what's going on. This little clip has popped out of its groove. It's actually, there's a groove down in here, and it's popped forward, you know. So I'll put that back in when it's when I put the cover back on. Yeah, this thing here. Yeah, it was sitting out of its little seat there, but that shouldn't be too hard to fix. I could just maybe give this a little squish and make sure that groove is cleaned out, and it should just pop right in. Okay, I'm gonna go around and blast all these off. I've got my oil can here. because I have a feeling once this cracks loose, it's going to start pouring out oil. I got my bolt placement map ready to go, and it shouldn't take too long to get all these off. So just gonna work my way around here clockwise, and I'll bring it back when I got them all off. Okay, I was wrong. I was worried about nothing. They're all the same size, so it just goes to show you, and you just never know. But one thing I noticed when I was taking this all off, every one of them was fairly loose. Like I didn't have to crack them or anything. I just hit the button on the thing and they came out effortlessly. So I have a sneaking suspicion this oil that we're seeing down here is probably from this gasket. It's probably leaking a little bit, you know, weeping, you know. That's my guess. So I think we might be good to go to pop this off. I'm not sure. I'll go get my rubber mallet and give this a couple whacks and see if we can get that out of there. Got my rubber mallet here. A couple of whacks to start off. Just don't want to break anything. I do see. Oh, I think it just came loose there. Yeah, there she goes. Yeah, she's coming now. It's kind of feels like it's stuck on there. Somebody's got a bunch of RTV in here. I feel a loose gear. Something's going on. Oh yeah, we got the gear popping out on us. It's fighting me here. It's all this. It's fighting me here. Oh, there's a whole bunch of gears coming out. Damn it. I didn't want that to happen. Oh, come on. I think it's just this gasket stuff. Oh, shoot. There's that. Oh man. Hold on. I think there's a couple of wires that are getting pulled really tight here. I might have to pull this off just to get some access here. Okay, so a little bit of a mess here. So what I ended up doing, I had to take this cover off. Of course, I didn't know any of this. And so what happened was I pulled this one off. There's these wires in here, probably the pulse generator, I'm thinking. And some of them got kind of pulled. They're not broken, but I'm gonna have to fix them up a little bit in order to get this off. You see how everything's attached, and I believe those go up to the pulse generator right there, most likely. That's okay. I'll get this apart and I'll have a look at that and I'll clean all them wires up. I don't think it's too bad. I don't think I'll be able to not fix it, but until I get that apart, I'm just gonna lay that down there for now. And then there was this shift thing here. that came through. This is a shift shaft. It actually goes through that case and then goes down to another rod. So I guess down in here is where the transmission is. So it's moving another shift rod down in here. Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna clean a lot of this up. And then another thing that happened is all these gears came out. So I'm gonna have to look and see which way all these go on. But there's these shafts, and then these two gears here. One comes off the starter. Oh, it's actually easy to tell. This one's got splines, so coming off the starter, and then this one's kind of like an idler, goes in between. It looks the same on both sides, so shouldn't be too hard to figure out. This one's the same on both sides, same recesses. They don't look chewed up, so that's good. Created a bit of a mess here, but it's not too bad. This gasket here I'm gonna have to replace, but I don't have one. The kit only came with this one. That's why I only took this cover off, because you know, it only had that one gasket. This one probably have to make a homemade one or something, and use some RTV on that. It should be fine. There is oil behind here though, I'm sure, so if I don't do this right, it'll leak. And then these wires, I was gonna see if I can unplug them. Unplug this, but how far up does it go? Carefully. That should free up a little bit. This one goes way up. There's one. There's two. Okay, so that thing's free now. Okay, I think I'm gonna take this, put it inside the shop. Okay, so back to the task at hand. I need to get this flywheel off because the starter clutch is in behind it here. If you look, you can see this gear. It only goes one way. Now it's still intact, but when it's under load, it's slipping. So what I gotta do is take this off, take this big bolt out, and then get my puller hooked up, and then get this flywheel off, and then have a look at the starter clutch mechanism in behind there, and see what's going on with it. Get here, which size is this? What is that? That's a 19. Okay, so I'll give it a couple of wraps to see if, there we go. Yeah, wanted to make sure it wasn't like left-handed thread or anything weird. Huh, there's a weird, wasn't expecting that. Don't really know what that's all about. Huh. Wonder what that's for. I'm having all kinds of problems here with this, getting this off. I had a feeling this wasn't going to be easy. Nope. So this bolt comes off, which I assume holds the whole unit on. This one here, it's part of, it's not really a nut, it's part of this. By all accounts, there's no seam here, like it's, so I don't think there's any more I can take off, you know, allegedly. And so this kit that came with this puller came with these bolts. They're mild steel, and they weren't quite long enough. You know, by the time you get this thing on there and these on there, and you got your center bolt, there just wasn't enough on there, and I couldn't get these in. And oddly enough, these are standard thread, which is the only thing I could get to thread in here, which to me seems really odd, being that this is a metric bike. So I'm not sure why that is yet, but yeah, all my metric bolts wouldn't go in these holes. I don't know why. Maybe I'm hallucinating or something. I don't know. But anyway, so I needed these to be a little bit longer. By the time I get all this in here, there wasn't much, because you have to put this in here, because otherwise, if you just shove a you know, a round, there's a bunch of different ends for this bolt here, and if you just shove something in there, you'll mess up the threads where this bolt goes, right? So you kind of have to put that in there, leave a space, and then push and pull on this, right? But by the time you get this all rigged up, I didn't have any room to pull it off with, so I needed longer bolts. So I've got these 3 here. Now these, I think, are probably a little stronger. They're stainless steel. I'm hoping they're stronger, because I don't really have a lot of options at the moment. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like when I'm cranking on it, I have to hold this nut back, because all that happens is this thing, when it turns against here, it just turns this in. So you kind of have to stop that from going on. You have to stop this from turning with this crescent wrench, and then you have to crank it in. There's like 3 things going on at once. So I'm going to rig this up again, get it all set. I'm going to heat this part here really good, because I don't have a whole lot of shots getting this off. I want to make sure it comes off in one shot, because if I start screwing up these threads on here, I'm gonna be in trouble. So that's my plan. Got this all rigged up again, and I'm just gonna heat the inside of that a bit, give us our best chance. And we'll Alright, here goes nothing. I gotta hold this. I got this wrench in here. Let's hope. Oh, it came. Look at that. See how stuck that was on there? That was really stuck on there. That hadn't come off in years. Probably, who knows how long. Could be the first time. Alright, that worked. It's still kind of hot, so I'll just pull that out. Need oven mitts. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, it's already falling apart on me. Yeah. So here's the starter. This is that cog that those little shims ride on, and it's not too beat up, so that's a good sign. So that'll go like so. There's that Woodrow Fury there. Okay. Yeah, but this thing actually fell apart. Oh yeah, little bits everywhere. We're inside the shop, and I think we're definitely on the right track here, guys. Because I was just quickly looked at this thing, and look at this. This thing's all chewed up. The whole starter ratchet clutch thing is loose. Look at this. Look how loose that is. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that. So that's a problem. And let's yeah, so these obviously backed out. I mean, I can turn them by hand. And this looks kind of chewed up. This thing's been slapping back and forth. So yeah, that's most likely our issue. So let's take this off. And they're not even tight at all. That was ready to come apart. So definitely glad I'm fixing this before I head out on the road, because you don't want to push. Oh yeah, look at these bolts. They're all mashed. And this new clutch comes with new bolts, so that's great. Yeah, threads are all mashed. That's from it rocking back and forth. And then, yeah, this whole thing comes out. You know, basically, you probably could have saved this. You know, put the springs back in, just tighten it down, and it probably would have, you know, went around good. Yeah, you can see how, so here's the new one here, and then you can see how this one's been loose in there for quite a while. Yeah, it'll start a lot better with this one on there for sure. Okay. That's great. Well, there's your problem. Loose bolts in the, and of course it's in the back behind here, and you've seen how hard it was to get that this flywheel off. You know, I had to heat it up, and you know, I still don't know if I had the right threads on those bolts. Like, I don't know why I could only fit standard bolts in there. Like, I don't know. This thing's pretty easy. So if you look at it closely, this here, these actually sit down like this when it's together, and then this is slightly tapered up. So, and you've seen that shaft that this sits on, and so when it turns a certain way, these little rollers roll out and go up this little guide, and then pinch the little end of the shaft that it sits on, and that's how it goes around. It only turns, you know, it'll grab one way and then it'll free spin the other way. And these things are actually really easy to get apart. You just pop this out, and then there's a little, it's like a little push rod. It's got a spring and a little recess. This goes down in there. You just feed the spring and this little thing in, hold your thumb on it, and this is the same on both sides. So then you just drop this in there and there. And then I just want to, I'll check each one, make sure the spring is good, because once this goes on, you ain't getting it off again. It's like so. Just like that. New bolts. Thank God it came with new bolts, because That must be a common issue. These things loosen up and then, yeah. Okay. And then we're gonna get the red Loctite this time. You don't want these coming off ever. You don't want these coming off ever. This starter clutch unit right here, this assembly, it's an aftermarket company called Caltrek, I believe that's what it's called. Or is it, yeah, Caltrek or Centrek? I don't know. I should put a link to them. They build a lot of aftermarket stuff that you can't get anymore. And yeah, they like remanufacture all this stuff. It's quite nice that they do that, because otherwise you'd be hunting down a parts engine or something. And it was about, what was this? This was about $65 on eBay, something like that. So not too bad, you know. So let's I'll tighten these up, but I'm going to torque them too. Yeah, I'm going to get my other wrench to torque those. I don't normally torque things down with this big impact, but because of this situation, so I just put a line on here so I can keep an eye on it. Because I don't want to, I'll snap that bolt right off with this thing. So I just want to be able to keep an eye. I just want a little bit of a tighten. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend using this for setting your torque settings, but in this situation, because I can't hold on to this, it gives me that little extra. There, this thing's an animal. It'll just snap that off and keep going. Okay, well, that's rebuilt. Make sure there's nothing loose and falling apart. These things do fall apart, these little, you know, these things in here, you never know, the magnets shift around. The magnets like to break up. This looks like a little retainer cap that's holding everything in, so should be okay. Yeah, so now it's time for the job that everybody loves so much, is we gotta clean this off and get it ready for the new gasket. Definitely going to put some RTV on this one because it was leaking. I still have to fix the wires here. So this is the wires, and it looks like they've been busted before. They're not broken right off, but they've definitely been I think someone did the exact same thing I did. They because the way that this is trapped in behind that other cover, and you go to pull this one off and then these get pulled out. So gonna have to fix those up. They should be fine though once I, you know, ideally it'd be nice now that I'm in here just to change this stator and everything, but you know, yeah. So I just thought I'd show you what I'm doing here. I'm trying to clean off this gasket surface off the engine here, and of course it's baked on there like you wouldn't believe. It's slow going, so that's why I'm not boring you with all the details here, but I'm almost done this portion. I've already got the cover part done. I'm gonna have to move over to this next and get it cleaned up. You know, most of you guys know this, but you got to be careful you don't gouge up the aluminum when you're doing this. So I got this piece cleaned off, and I just put a little bit of oil around this edge here, kind of spread it around with my finger, And what I'm trying to do is I want to make a gasket out of this piece of cardboard here. I don't have any gasket paper on hand. I didn't know I was going to have to do this, but yeah, and then I'll just plunk this down and hopefully it'll make an imprint. You can trace out this part. The other part I can't reach because it's covered up. That's somewhat of an outline. And I'll just kind of clean it up with my felt pen here. There. Got ourselves a nice new gasket. Plunk that down on there. I put RTV all around both sides. Should be just fine. Yeah, goes on just like that. So now I'm gonna address this little pulse generator wire thing. So I think the best thing to do is just kind of clip this off and resolder it. Try to peel this back a little bit. This one doesn't look too bad, but I kind of want to get a new piece of heat shrink on here, so I'll redo this one too. Just gonna clip it right here, and then yeah, I'll set this up and I'll try to resolder on this wire. Okay, so I've resoldered these wires back on. I cleaned them up a bit too and then resoldered them on there. And now I'm just gonna finish it off with another couple of pieces of the heat shrink on here, just to kind of stiffen it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna retape this whole balloon back together. I gotta get better at soldering, man. I've never been able to do it very well. Sometimes it's not so bad, but then other times it's just like so frustrating. Some people make it look so easy. I haven't quite figured it out yet. It always seems to be like in an awkward, you know, kind of a situation where you just can't get the proper heat to the piece, or there. Yeah, just gonna retape this up. Ideally I should be replacing this pulse generator, but I didn't foresee it having this problem with the wires, and I'd have to order it, and there won't be enough time for it to get here before I go away for the couple days. So I think in the future though, definitely want to change that out, because there, got that all taped up, and yeah, everything should be ready to go. I might just, the stuff gets so brittle and baked, I might just wrap a little bit of tape around here too. Okay, I got this all cleaned up now and looking pretty good. Just gonna start putting some of this stuff back on here. These gears fell out when I took this cover off, and they're pretty easy to go back on. They're both the same on each side, and this one is clear on the inside here, and it sits on this shaft here. And then there's this other one, and it's got a splined center to it. I think this one goes like this. That's how this goes. Just by looking at it. Yeah, so this outer ring looks like it goes into the starter, like so. So that's connected to the starter. This one goes from this little gear, it's on the same spline shaft, and it connected like that. That's how that goes. And then when the cover goes on, it'll hold this end here. And then, okay, so here's our flywheel. This is the back side. This is our starter clutch that we put on here. Here's that sort of collar that the starter clutch engages on. So this goes down in here. Like so. And you see how it only goes one way, like it'll turn that way but not the other way. Right? That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. Now you take that as a unit. And then here's our groove for the Woodrove key. Okay, next is the bolt that holds that on there. And if you remember this piece of wire kind of thing, it went down in there. I'm not sure what this does. If anybody knows, I'd be interested to know what that does. And then there's this washer, just a normal flat washer. Goes on here like so. And that gets tightened down. I'll just torque that down. This is just to work this stuff around both sides. Nice and evenly. It's a little messy, but this is a good method for spreading it around nice and evenly, so you don't have it oozing out on the inside of the engine. You can get a nice even layer on here. It gets all over your fingers though, but you can rub it off. Okay, I think that goes on there like so. Put that over the dowels. Like so. The shifter shaft goes right through this case, so I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on here. to help that out. So shifter shaft goes in here. Oh, it's kind of magnetic. There. There. So if you look at all these bolts that came out of here, they're all the same size except for this one is slightly shorter, and I think that would be because it goes in there, I think. And then all these other ones should just go around here. And then I'll start them, and then I'll send them in with the power ratchet. Now that they're all cinched down, I can go around and give them the old wrist pounds of torque, about 7 wrist pounds, I think. So that part's done now. I just gotta route these cables back up. I'm just gonna quickly put this gasket back on, or this cover back on. I'm missing one of the bolts. I lost it. Gotta hunt around for it. It's somewhere around here. Alright. All I gotta do now is put on this new filter. It came with the new O-ring. So just quickly clean out this groove here. Not really putting this on there because I think it needs it. It's just doesn't want to lay flat for me. There. This goes up through here. Gotta push it past the O-ring, and the spring goes on there, and then this goes on like so, and then that can go on as a unit. Found my other bolt that I was looking for. I knew I'd come across it. Alright. Now, the trick is hopefully that'll stay intact. And that goes, it looks like these two little tabs will bind up into here, stop it from moving around. There. There. Put the filter on. Just gonna double check this. Yeah, that's nice and tight. All right. Might be able to put some oil in it and try running it before I put the rest of it together. I think I can put oil in it now and make sure everything's working. All right. Sounds like a plan, eh? All right, let's see if we fixed anything here. There's some chokage. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. Uh-oh.
What is that?
I don't know. Shit. I must not have hooked something up right. God damn it. What the hell? Uh-oh. Shit. Uh-oh. What the hell happened? Oh, shit. Well, that didn't work. Didn't see that one coming, guys. So, basically, I got sold the wrong part. So here's the old one here, and you notice the direction of the pins. And then here's a picture I took of the new one before I put it on. It's currently on the machine now, and the pins are going that way. So it's the same facing, and you can't flip these over because the bolt holes on the other side are countersunk in. So it's basically a starter clutch for the other direction, and so that's just great. Basically, I have to take the whole thing apart again, and this casing part still is good. So I'm going to take the roller springs and push pins out of this one and use the bolts and put this one back on the bike, and you know, and then it should work again. I think for the most part the unit was just loose on there and was kind of rattling around. You know, when I put the two together and put it on there, it should be working just fine. But I wish I'd have known that before I put it on there. That's kind of weird, eh? How they have one go in a different direction. It's just the way it goes sometimes. You know, just nice and close, you can see. You know, they're clearly going in the opposite direction. So I don't know. They must have a model or version of that engine that turns the other way, I'm guessing, or something like that. I don't know. It just didn't even occur to me that would be a possibility. So of course I just put the whole thing together, and here we are. So basically everything's the same except for that part's wrong. So I'm just gonna go in there, you know, do all the work, flip it around, or put this one on, I mean, and then put it all back together and fast forward to the part where we started. because trust me, you don't want to have to go through all that work. I gotta get that flywheel off again, and hopefully it'll come off easier now that it's been off. So, but yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. So sit back, relax, enjoy watching me work on motorcycles. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. I'll bring it back when I got something good to show you. Well, I screwed up. This here is the bolt that bolts the flywheel on. I was putting everything back together, and I was cranking it down, and it just snapped. And I was actually lucky to get all this out because, yeah, because this piece, I don't even know what this piece is for. If anybody knows what this does, that'd be good to know. But of course, so this broke down inside the crankshaft, and then this was left sticking out. So I had to get this out before I could get my easy out. Before I get my easy out in there and get this out. So I'm kind of stuck at the moment. Yeah, a bit of a standstill. I wasn't. Things aren't going well for this fix. I didn't. That's the way it goes sometimes, you know. You just one bolt screws you right up, and yeah, that's what's happening right now. I can get the bolt. It's just I'm gonna have to wait probably a week or so, maybe even 2 weeks. So just gonna have to clean up and put the bike off to the side and wait for that part to come in. I might even search out and see if I can find the proper starter clutch mechanism, the one with that goes the direction that I need it to go. If I'm gonna be waiting now. So yeah, change of plan. Won't be taking that bike anywhere soon. But I got my V-Strom. I can slap a plate on that and go for a cruise if need be. So yeah, so I'll be figuring that out. And yeah, so to be continued. Unfortunately, I wasn't planning on that happening. So I can't move forward the way it is. I can't bolt that flywheel on. Part of the reason why I think I was cranking on it so hard with the impact is when I had it on there before, it kind of looked like that big gear on the back of it was kind of half on the starter idler gear. Like it looked like it needed to go in more when I first had it on. And I think I was trying to achieve as much, like pull it on as hard as possible. I didn't want it to, you know, be loose or forward. And I think in doing so, I cranked on it. And this bolt is hollow, eh? So it's got this hole down the center. Not sure why that is, but that impact of mine, it packs a punch. You know, you gotta be careful with it. It'll snap bolts off like no problem. So that's what I just cranked on it and snap. I'm like, oh my god, you should have seen the look on my face. Oh no. But it's fixable. Luckily I got that broken piece of stud out of the crankshaft because I don't know what I was gonna do if you can't get that out while you're hooped. Anyways, that's the way she goes sometimes. So this video to be continued. I'll have to continue on with it when I get the parts in the mail. And yeah, it's just it's unfortunate. But anyways, I want to thank you for watching and hope to see you again real soon. Center Stand Mechanics out.